How to do your max DPS. What problems can make you lose your DPS, and how to make DPS test, and how to make it with something you can trust. So all of these things you will find it on this video. So let's begin this video. Welcome to my video again, guys. So actually, simply, DPS is something important on this game, and most of players for sure care about DPS and how to match it and how to do it and what problems it can make them go down on DPS or anything like this. So that's why I'm making this video. But before this, I will talk about something simple. I don't like things how it going on Blood and Soul in general, and actually I made a post before about we have to take a day or make a day we don't play the game because simply this company is working with money. If you made them lose money, they will begin to move. If you don't make them lose money, they will never move. And for sure we saw a lot of things like this. When they find any bug can make them lose money, they begin to work fast so they can solve it. So for sure we have a lot of bugs on this game from Unreal Engine 4 release, and actually they don't fix anything of them, and I can mention all of them on another video if you want to, but there is a lot of things for sure you can find it. So for me, I will choose this day on the next Thursday, that will be on 30th of December. So I will take this day, just will open the game. Actually for me, I will open to spin the wheel and close the game. So for you, it's better to do this. Don't think these things will not make the company work or they will do nothing or anything like this. You have to make your own revolution. So you want to do a changes. That's something to happen on every place. You have to do these things if you want something to change. If you don't want something to change or anything to change, just stay like you are, nothing will happen. But if you will do this, you will not lose anything. Actually, if you wanted to play or you have to play on this day, play but don't pay on anything for the game. So if they begin to lose some money, they will begin to earn. If they didn't earn on this time, so maybe we'll have to do it another time on another day until they begin to make their moves and they begin to do something and things will grow better for sure. So away from these points, let's begin to talk about this video. Do not waste your time anymore. So let's begin with the first point on this video, how to do your DPS or your match DPS. So to do this, it's having a lot of things you have to understand. So number one, what is your character and what is your skills, and begin to understand your character. So it's understanding your character in general. So what do you mean by this? You have to understand everything about your character, about your skills, about your moves, about everything like this to find the best way to begin to do your damage. As an example, if I don't understand that my V, it will give me some buffs and will give me some critical damage, whatever it will give you, you will never do a good damage. So you have to understand this point. If you don't understand that my 4, as an example, doing some damage and doing damage more on knockdown or stunned or anything like this, that will not make you do good damage, especially on PvP on in this moment. So if I will KD someone and give him 4, that will do more damage. So this thing will be important on something like PvP. For PvE, as if you stun the boss or anything like this, that will not happen a lot, so it will not make that much problem. But I'm talking about this in general, it's something important. As an example, your tab here as an example is super important, so you will have to use it all the time when you can do it. Something also like your Z, it will make cooldown, draw down for your tab, so it's something important to understand it. So every skill you have to understand it because it will make something important. For sure things will go differently from character to character. So some characters you have to use this skill, so it will draw down for another item or another skill or another anything. So all of these things is important. So point number 2, understand your items. So your items simply can make some changes, so a lot of things can happen and you have to understand all of these things. So if I will check my items, something like ring will give me bonus damage on my right click, Something like Netless as example, give me bonus damage on my tab. Netless will give me some damage for my later, what is my left click, but not this one on my other stance, so it's this one, and the right click was this one. So that's an important point to understand. Okay, for bracelet especially because it's an important item, it can change a lot of things for you, so it made the effect after you do something, whatever what is this something, it's about your character for sure. For soul badge you have to understand it also because it's super important and make a lot of changes, and I will talk about it later. Mistake damage, work on something you do on skill, whatever the skill you are using, this mistake badge will work, or its effect will work for some time. It's different from character to character, can be 9 seconds on character and will be 3 seconds on another character, can be 30 seconds on another character, so things can go differently from character to character. Gloves, okay, it's not important. Belt, okay, it's not important. For soul, for sure, it's always the same. If you will go for long soul or if you go for short soul, it's depend on your character. Most of characters better to play with short soul because it's a lot better for them. For characters that have super high burst, it can play with the long soul. As example, I can play with it for my Blade Master on lightning. It will be good, but it's super bad if I play with fire as example. So things will go like this. Heart normally something normal, pet just for defense and some bonus damages. This item for sure use it when you are bursting or use it when it comes because you will do best damage with it on this time. So all of the things can make some problems for you or can make change on your DPS when you use them on the right way or begin to understand them. Third point, and that's the important point between all of them, understand your rotation or learn your rotation for your character. So every character have a rotation that make him make the best damage, and that's depend on your items for sure. So that's why I mentioned the two other points first. So you have to understand your skills, you have to understand your items, and with them make a combine and make a rotation that will make you do the best DPS. So if I will talk about this point because that's the most important one on all of them. So your rotation depend on them like what I mentioned. Especially these items can make a change on your rotation. Bracelet, soul badge, the most one is making the changes, and you have misted badge. Sometimes for sure you have some items like this can give you some bonus damages on some items, but I don't really care. I'm talking about what can make changes for your rotation is these things. For sure if there is any update and the change in skills on characters, like what happened after Unreal Engine 4 for Astromancer as example, you have to press one tab so you can get attack power for all of your party. These things can make changes for sure on your DPS. So let's put things simple. You have to understand which skill you have to put first and which skill you don't have to put first. So mostly on most of characters you have to start with your burst. If you will not start with your burst, but maybe you will start with something before your burst, or you have to put it before you begin your real DPS. So for me as Blade Master on lightning, I have to use my V first because this one will give me burst. Okay, so what second skill I have to do it? For sure my tab is doing so much damage, I don't have my right click and the left click here, so I have to go for my draw stance, what I can reach with SS as example, but for sure on the DPS or when I want to make DPS, I will go for it with my tab. My 4 can do also. Okay, so the sense how I can go for my draw stance, and I have to understand the sense like what I mentioned. And after this I begin to understand how I will go. So going with V, tab is not good, but go with V4 so I can get the bonuses from my 4, get the critical rate bonus with 10% and the critical damage bonus with 10% also is better for sure than going for tab second skill. So I will go for V, then 4, then tab. After this I will begin my right click and left click. That can do, but actually because I have a better skill, and that will be my V and flash step, this one will be for sure better. And if I hit it I will do it another time, and if I hit the second time I will do it for the third time. So this things will do a lot better things. And with this I can gain an effect that will make me use a skill called the Fatal Blade. So I will go for Fatal Blade because it's doing so much damage and things will be good for me. So that's how you can understand your skills. For sure I will show you some other characters. I will show you some examples on this. So let's go for this. I will have to use my talisman, V for tab, right click 2 times, V, then 4, use my X because it can reset my F again, and we'll go for it, V. And I have V again, because I found it, I have it for some reason, so I can do this. Then begin to right click, left click. That's something on my Lightning Blade Master. For sure, some characters have just right click, some characters have right click, and until some points you will use left click. So since the drawing like this, you have to understand these points, and you have to understand which skill you have to use it at which time. So if as an example I will choose Spectral Blade as another spec, away from which point I will put here and all of these things, I don't care about it now. For sure I don't have any badges, so my rotation can change a lot. So normally rotation was like this, V4 tab. For anyone having acceleration badge, you should have your V and 4 again, but because here I don't have them, so I will just use them and just shut up and do nothing. So things can go differently from character to character and from your items for sure. And as example, that's something I will show you. This tab here is not doing that much damage, look, just 1,000,000.4. But if I will go for fire as example and use this tab, this will do so much damage, so I have to make a hit for the boss with it, and I will show you this just after showing you this again. So here I can go for tabs in V4 like this, tab V4, and begin to fight away from the tab. I hit the boss, it's not right thing, and just do my right click because it's the best. I can press LMB because it resets my F, so I will use LMB always before F. That's as I am understanding this sense. All of my other skills is useless, so I will not use anything from them. That's how things is going. You have to check. This is still as example not doing that much, so if I will use it I just will waste some time and doing damage with this skill, and instead of doing damage with a better skill will do a better DPS for me. Show you fire first, then we'll go for some characters. So for sure here also something important on DPS, you have to choose the right talent. So for me here I have to use this one because this one is better for me. So you have to read all the talents to begin to understand, or ask someone playing with this character for a long time, he will tell you the best at this point or at these days, because things can change. So for sure talisman 4, and begin to right click here, since here is different, left click if I need to, tab and X because it's super important. I use my V and reset 4 seconds from my tab, use my Z if I can do, and begin to DPS again. So since it's like this, let's go for some other characters so I can show you some other examples. Okay, so I have here my Astromancer. So since here for sure a lot different from Blade Master, as since here is have a lot of different things. So here I have to press my right click like this, but if you see my right click is slow, so I have to combine it with left click like this, and my left click is also strong, so I can do it like this. And as you see I gain some attack speed for some reason. So for sure if you will check, you will find that you have a passive make you get this attack speed. Okay, so that's a point you have to understand it. So if I will look to the character from another direction, or for sure if you change the skills, you will find a lot of things like this is doing some damage, but actually it's working with your Thornbreaker Mystic Badge or your Mystic Badge as example, whatever what you have. So something like this will be super important to use, but when that's actually kinda tricky, because that's the difference between some characters and how much skills is important for you to use. So Blood Master as example was right click, left click, tab, 4 V and another V. Both of these V's you have, and your F as example was your important skills. But here actually things is a lot different. So I have one and the tab is important. I have my tab is important. I have my Z with 2 is important. I have C, V, 3, 4, all of this is important. Just this it's what I don't need. And for sure right click and left click is super important also. And there is an F called parallax is important. So almost all of your skills is important. That's what makes things is super hard for character like this as example to learn it. So a lot of players for sure using the macro for these things. I hate macros. I like to do it myself, and that's how I'm doing things and will always do. So the point I want to say, normally on all the days we was using 1 F tab Z H C V 3 4 and begin to do your right click with F. For sure I'm doing this super slow. Normally I will not doing it like this, and use whatever C or 3 or anything gem or 4 and do them. And for sure use your Z when you can. Use your C, use your 3, use your 4, use your F. And for my 2 I will wait a bit until I have my V and use it with my V, and things will go like this. Okay, that's normally how things is doing. But because after Unreal Engine 4 you have 1 and this tab is giving you a 25% attack power, not just for you but for all your team members on the range for sure. So you have to start with this, and you will ignore your 1F. So you will go for 1 tab, then use the other tab. So you will give them 2 buffs, not just 1 buff. So this thing is super important to understand when you are playing with a character. You have to understand all of these things. So I will go for 1 tab, 4 tabs, HCV 3, 4, and begin to do my damage. And as I'm going like this, I can use my ultimate also in between. C4 and begin to do my DPS. So things to understand also is about your items. So your C, misted damage, your 3, and your 4, resetting your V. V you have to use it when you have your 2, or your 2 you have to use it when you have something can make you use this parallax with a different color, not the blue one but the purple one, because the purple one is doing the better damage than blue one. So you will have to use things like this. Your that can make you do a lot of this F, and your V is the same. So if I will use as example my 2 right now, maybe I will not do a good parallax like what you can see. That's a problem for sure. That will make you lose DPS, and that's point number 4, how you lose your DPS, because sometimes you are using skills in the bad time. So in this try I just used my 2 when I wasn't have any V or Z. So for sure this one went to waste. Normally you will use it and you will get about 7 times to use parallax, and this sense will do a lot different on your DPS. As you see, parallax is the best skill doing DPS on your skills. For sure it depends on your items also. So that's the points you have to care about when you are playing with starter like Astromancer. You have to understand the sense, because these points can make you lose DPS for no reason. For sure not need to mention again, you have to check your items, you check your skills, which one you have to do it first, and all of the things is depend on your items. Soul badge, for sure bracelet, Mr. damage, you have to check them all the time, because they can make the difference for sure. Okay, let's try another character. Okay, so this time it's Soul Fighter, so things is a lot different here, but also you have to check always your items, which one you will do it first. So as example for me, my Z is super important because it can give me my cheese, and all of my chi will make me do something. So things can make a difference. I don't need this ranged sometimes. It's depend on your items. If you have all the gears, maybe you will have to change to ranged. If you don't have all the gears, so you will stay always on melee when you do your damage. So this thing is super important to understand. So here with understanding, you will have to use your Z and your 2 so you can make your bracelet work, and you will have to use this X as it increases your critical damage by 20%, and that's super important for damage. And you will begin to use your F. If you have your V, you will use it also when you come, and you will see the stats is coming until your V is come again. You begin to use your V again, and things will begin to happen. So the point, always understand which still is doing your damage. If you have still like this on dark, so it have something to do so you can get it. So this one, when you level 5 on she like this, I'm still having no level. So if I begin to do my DPS like this, still I don't have it, so I will have it now. So that's the point, and you begin to use this still for sure. Okay, so if I will do DPS as example, super fast, so I will do it like this. I have to put my eyes on my bracelet, so I will see which time I need to use it. So I will use my 2 at this point. For sure my 2 is not doing that much damage, so I don't have to use it all the time. Something like it's giving me this much of critical damage, I have to do it for sure in some time when I have to do it. Bracelet, I have to not make it go out on character like this. I have to use also my right click that make my Z cooldown go down. I have to use it on the right time like this, so I can do my damage. Okay, and that's the point. For sure, this class is not doing that much damage away from anything. For sure, if you will do better damage, you will have to switch to Earth, as Earth is doing better damage than Ice at this point. And for sure, until you get third speed will be a lot better than all of these things. And for sure, when it does happen, I will make a DPS test and will make you a video for this. So anyway, until these days, things you have to put on your mind also on your DPS, and that makes your DPS going low is your states. So I have as example here just this much of states, especially critical is super low because I didn't put anything on this character. It was super lazy and I didn't play that much to put some critical soul shield on this pieces, especially some of them I know I will change them super soon, or sooner or later I have to do this. So until I did the pieces I need, I can put some critical and things will be a lot different for me on the damage for sure. Point number 5, and actually that will be point number 2 on the big things that we begin to talk about on this video. How you are losing your DPS, like the mistakes you are losing or making you losing this DPS. So for sure you have to understand these things that will make me go to the real point number 2, and that's how or the problems make you lose DPS. So actually to talk about this point, actually the video is super long, so I will put it for another video better. So next video or the next video about DPS or about talking about DPS, I will talk about the problems that can make you lose your DPS, whatever, how you will lose it because of boss fight, because of your teammates, because of anything like this. I will mention all of these things, and we'll talk maybe on the same video about how to make the best DPS test you can do. So we'll make this for the next video. So anyway, thank you for your time guys, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave the game. Leave me a like if you feel this video was helpful for you, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.